Why, hello there, it's the Rockin' Scotsman here again, bringing you a rapid review of the Predacon Beast Wars basic figures. As we can see here, we have quickstrike, spittor, iguanas, razorclaw, insecticon, drillbit, powerpinch, and scaram. Let's get right into this rapid review with the very first figure. Alright, we're going to take a look at razorclaw first. As you can see, he is a little fiddler crab. Yeah, there's a joke there, but I decided I wasn't going to say it. Something about being on a roof. Yes, roof. Anyways, he is a crab. He looks neat. He has a little hidden laser claw in one of his claws, and as his name would suggest, razors in another. Again, I really like the way he looks. He just looks like a neat little crab. He's not as awesome as Rampage, but you gotta give him, the fact that he looks like a crab in that mode. And he's pretty neat. Basic transformation, as all basics are. Flip him upside down. Open that. Break open his shell. Move his crab legs behind him. Bring down his feeties. Notice that I have a nice little loose leg here. Gotta love the fact that they're old. It'll be so much better once I have my newer Transformers on screen. And then finally pull down his head. And that's Razorclaw. I got him, again, I think still within my first 2 years of when I first started collecting Transformers, so like when I was 7, maybe even 8. And I like him. He's neat. The big claw. The little claw. There's a nice little symbol right there. He just looks really cool. And just something about having an asymmetrical claw on his hand. And I mean, he can open it quite wide, get some nice grabbing motions going on. I really like him. I know when I was young, I used to pretend that he could also grab with his legs. But that's just me being a kid. Yeah, and that's Razorclaw. Alright, next up is Iguanas. He is a frilled lizard, based off of the exact same mold as the Crocodile Megatron. And with that, he is exactly the same figure, besides his head and this nice little frill. So, transformation, we go flip it up. There we are. Flip his feet down, flip his lizard legs, move that up there. Remove his tail. There we are. And put his gun in his hand. There we are. And we have Iguanas. He looks pretty cool. A little armored on his frill. Makes him look like he could kind of be shielded, although that doesn't seem like that would help. Seems like his head is still a main target. Maybe there's nothing in his head, though. So maybe that's why. But he's neat. I remember I used to pretend with his gun, I used to shoot it like spit. Like, if you guys ever saw Jurassic Park, the frilled lizard in that movie would spit out gunk into the poor scientist guy's eyes. I guess he was actually not a poor scientist, he's kind of a bad guy in that movie. But anyways, moving right along onto the actual focus, which is the Transformer here. He looks neat. I like him. Brown and yellow seem to work really well together. And I do like the gun. And if you don't want a gun, you can make it like a sword, maybe, kinda. We're just going to use the gun. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Yeah, same articulation as, again, most beasts. Ball jointed in the shoulders, ball jointed in the elbows, flippy wrists, got ball joint hip, ball jointed knee, and flippy feet. And that, everyone, is, if I can understand, that is Iguanas. Alright, next we have Insecticon. He's a beetle. And actually, I really like this mode. I'm a sucker for insects in general. I just picked up the band's Project Insecticon, Ninja Insecticons. I love those guys, and I cannot wait till I get to talk about them. They just have so many options. But yeah, this guy is actually pretty cool. I'm very sad that I lost his weapon when I was a young, stupid kid. I would normally go right there, because it's a cool weapon. It's a crossbow, and I like bows and crossbows as well. But otherwise, this is him. For some reason, being able to see the textured end of his thorax, that is cool. Like, that tells me that looks like a bug. I mean, if you really didn't see his hands there, or the ends of his feet, it would look like it's just a toy bug. But, of course, it's Transformers, so you kind of can't be perfect. But I like it. I can't tell you why, but this just looks like bug armor. Yes. His little gimmick, he can open his mouth. He can chop you down. And fly. Yeah, he can fly. But he's cool. I really like him. I can't say how much I should really enjoy him. Probably one of my favorite Predacon basic figures that I own. He just looks cool. I just can't get over it. It just looks proper. But transformation, like most beasts, is very basic. Flip his head down, it springs open slowly because it's an old Transformer. Flip his feet down, and there you are. That's him. Now, he actually looks really neat. I just love the idea of having these as like little machine guns like Black Arachnia and Tarantulas. Unfortunately, I have never owned either of those two in the original series. I have a Transmetal Tarantulas, and I have a bunch of different incarnations of Black Arachnia, or Arachnid, as she became known in some of the other series. But I like him. I just love that silhouette. Again, and if he had that little crossbow coming off his one hand, oh, love it. But he looks like a ninja. He looks like he could sneak up on you and could find you. He has good articulation. One of my older figures actually has some really nice joints still. Nice big flat feet that give him some nice options. I like him. Can't say how much about it, but I like him. Probably one of my favorite figures that I'm reviewing today for you guys. And that's Insecticon. Alright, now we got Spittor. He's a poison dart frog. That's cool. Like, just already, the fact that he's a poison frog when these are robots, already pretty neat. I'm not a big fan of how his legs kind of look. They don't really look very frog-ish, if that makes sense, even though he is in fact a frog. But I have a Transmetal 2 version of him. Actually, I have the Robots in Disguise version of him coming. Yes, the Robots in Disguise version of him. Well, his Transmetal self. And he looks like a frog. A mechanical red frog, but a frog nonetheless. So, get down and his little gimmick is you click down this. So you click it down. I said you click it. Click it down. Man, these are old Transformers. Click it down. Well, you're supposed to be able to click it down, and his head would come out of his mouth. I guess not. Alright, well, I guess his gimmick is broken now. I have not picked him up for probably a good 5 years. So it no longer is working. That's okay. We'll get to the transformation, though. Bring down his little web feet. Bring down his chest. Bring his feet back, put them backwards, flip up his back feet to turn into his arms. There we are. Let's see if I can't get this thing to work. There we are, look at that. It's supposed to do that, kind of comes out looking like a tongue. But it's kind of crappy. Because it's old. And that's Spittor. I like him. Doesn't come with a weapon. I didn't lose it, he just doesn't come with one. But he looks pretty alright. I mean, he has big sucker hands that are poisonous, so don't touch them if you're a toy robot, I guess. I kind of used to pretend that these used to be like little missile pods, could flip up and pow 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 pow. But he's neat. He's not my favorite, but he's neat. I like his colors. The blue and the orange just really stand out. And it's all like this translucent, transclearant, as Emgo would say. Shout out to you, sir, if you are watching. You rock. You are awesome. And part of my inspiration for doing this. But otherwise, he looks pretty neat. That's Spittor. Alright, next is drillbits. This was my brother's figure. My little brother's figure he got when I was, I think, 12. And he would have been, I guess, 8 at that point. Yeah, he didn't like Transformers very much, so I saved drillbits from the destruction of my little brother. Yeah. But he looks cool. He's a little weevil. Looks kind of neat. I'm a sucker for bugs, so that always helps. His little gimmick is you flip out his little drill, as he's a drill bit. You flip up his arms, and hey look, it's almost like he is a transmetal, but he's not. Alright, so there we are. There we are. You can click these into his feet. I'll kind of do that. There we are. And then he kind of rolls around. And if you roll, he drills. He's kind of neat. I like that. That's actually a really neat little gimmick, and kind of a foreshadowing of what's to come in the toy series. But quickly, just to kind of go over his transformation, you come flip him upside down. You take his legs out. There we are. You flip his pelvis down. There we are. You take his arm. Yeah, flip it. I said you flip it. There we go. Take his other arm. And you flip it. There we go. Take his whole body, pushing his head up, bringing it down. And there is a little peg that plugs right into that hole. If you line it up properly, it's on a double hinge, so there we are. Sorry, there we go. And then you just kind of orientate everything to the way you like it to be. And that's him. Let's see if I can get him to stand. But he's definitely a neat little figure. I like this whole huge drill arm. I normally really like symmetry in my action figures, specifically Transformers, but on the occasion, a big drill hand or a big gun hand, it's cool. I like it. And he has his little tiny hand here. And again, some really nice translucent plastic. Something that's really good looking for some of these older figures. And he still has his gimmick. You can rotate his little wheel and he spins it. You don't want it to be kind of deployed, you can kind of hide it, and then he has sort of a weird tripod arm. Like, I'm gonna come out and touch you. Yeah, that's him. That's drillbits. Alright, we got powerpinch. Third last one in my little series here. There we are. He is an earwig, which is kind of gross. But he's big, and he's an earwig. Very long. Very, very, very long. His little gimmick is he has this little pincher here, as his name would imply that he in fact has a pincher. You kind of have it up like that, so it's like a scorpion. But he looks cool. I really, really like how he looks. As I said, I'm a sucker for insects and bugs. It's even cooler if he's an insect that can fly, because then he has the wings. And he has swords, and then he has swords. Sorry, I'm just getting excited about things that are coming up in the future. Alright, so we'll transform him. You just take out his little pincher, split his arms up here, undo his back, flip his whole lower side in, close his back up, flip down that part here, becomes his chest, kind of fix his legs and his arms, and take his little power pincher here. You can either plug it into his chest, so he has this big pincer on his chest, or you can take it and put it on his... plug it into his fist. Just like so. And I like him. Again, immediately, I am already drawn to this figure just based on his little leg, his little insect legs on his arms. Come on now, buddy. Let's stand. Come on. There we are. Move him a little bit more into frame. I like it. He just screams pinchy. You got a big pincher there. Got little pinchers on his toes. You even got a little bit of a pincher on his head. I think in Beast Wars Neo he is called Scissor Boy, which also fits him. But I like him as a Predacon. I like the insects being bad guys. I don't know why. It just suits it so well. Articulation again, same thing. Swivel head. Good old ball joints on the shoulders and wrists. You got a ball joint in the hips. You got a double, or you got a hinge joint and then a ball joint. I'll show that off here. So you get like stupid ability to move. So you got like full range of movement there. And then flippy figure or flippy feet. They flip their feet. They're flippy feet. And yeah, that is PowerPoint. I realize I said PowerPoint. It's power pinch. I don't know how many times I said that through the review. Power pinch. Alright, now we have our very first Predacon Fusor. This is Quickstrike. He was on the show. He's a scorpion that also is a cobra. I don't know who came up with that idea, but bravo, sir. Bravo. A scorpion with a cobra for a tail. I don't even know what to say. I remember seeing him on screen, and I remember seeing him in my hands for the first time. I'm like, it just makes sense. But that's him. Again, he looks neat. He has all kinds of articulation because of all these little ball joints in his tail. You kind of make him striking, you kind of get him ready, you can just kind of have it flat down like he's traveling. He's neat. Unfortunately, I am missing his jaw. It broke off. It was a brown plastic, so I've been not having very good luck with that apparently. We'll talk more about that as we go on the review. But that's him. He can open and close his pincers. He just looks really neat. I love it. I just love the way he looks. But to transform him, we'll open his claws all the way up. We'll flip his head down and he'll stand on up. There we are. Take his claws here and lift him up. Take his snake, lift it up. You can flip his head down so it lines up. And then you split and you move his back like that, completing the transformation. And that is Quickstrike. Now, as I said, I love this figure. I have a little trouble with there not being an actual hand, but I can forgive it because he has a snake for one hand and a grabber for another. He looks cool. Again, he has all this really crazy translucent plastic. His head is technically very close to what it looks like. A few more paint apps and that would be pretty much Quickstrike's head. And yeah, that's him. Again, I like him. He looks neat. And one of my favorite little Fusors. Keyword there is little. Alright, on to the last. And last, but certainly not least, we have Transmetal 2 Scaram. He is a scarab, essentially. A mechanical scarab, but a scarab. This guy, throughout all the years I've had him, has had so many hours of play. He is one of my favorite Transformers that I currently own. Probably in the top 50, I would say. But that's because I own so many other damn Transformers that I love even more. But in the Beast Wars, he's definitely one of my favorites. Because he's a bug, and as we see in the transformation, these become his hands. I just like how he looks. But we'll kind of take a look at him. So he has his little feeties here. There you go, a nice little exoskeleton, so to speak, some armor. Got his little feet there. Again, he just looks like he can chomp some stuff going on, and you can kind of play with his mandibles as well. Looks really nice. He kind of has wings, but you can't flip them out as that's more part of transformation. Speaking of which, bring it down. Spin that around here. There we are. Same thing with this one. Bring down his feet, connect them together. There we are. Now we can crack his shell a little bit, bringing out his arms. Bring that out. Spin his waist. You can lift this up if you wish. Bring that down, turning him around. Orientate his awesome claws. And that is Scaram. I don't even know what to say. He has scythes for hands. And he's all his nice deco with this blue chrome, green underbelly, and this nice orangey brown. I love it. And of course, my favorite part of this whole Transmetal 2, Spark Crystal. That looks just so nice. I love that. It could be a laser. He could shoot a laser out of his chest, right out of his Spark Crystal. I love it. That is just so neat. I like his sculpt. We'll zoom in a bit better. There we are. It just looks neat. I just really enjoy him. I imagine him being more or less like an assassin. You know, he'd sneak up on his enemy and he could like glide down, just like that. Just glide down and then strike. Strike. Really neat. Unfortunately, he has a little bit less articulation because of the way his legs transform. He really only has a hip joint. Now, you could have a knee joint, but then you are technically untransforming his legs, which is totally cool. You can do whatever you want. It's, you know, a toy. You play with it. That's the whole point of it. And yeah, that's him. You can kind of bring up his shoulder pads a little bit. And yeah, there he is. Alright, I'm going to come back with my final thoughts on all of them. Alright, and here's my final thoughts on these guys. Again, they're all basics, so they're not anything really special. Some of them have some neat gimmicks, some of them have the spark crystals, which I really like. But you'll kind of notice that they all kind of follow a theme of these kind of sneaky underground animals. You got like poison and spitting and frilled, digging insects, biting insects, devouring insects. An earwig is a pretty disgusting creature in some cases. A scorpion with its poison, with a snake being all the stigmas. A crab that could bite you in the bite you on your toes along the beach. It's a kind of a neat little theme, and the colors actually really work together. Like, you kind of see them and you're like, yeah, these guys kind of belong together. And that's more or less my final thoughts. If I had to rank these ones by which ones I like the most, it would probably be Scaram would be probably one I like the most. Then probably Quickstrike. Then Insecticon, Powerpinch, razorclaw, drillbits, spittor, and iguanas. But that is that for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys give me a like and a subscribe. And we will talk to you sometime later.